Well, hello and welcome to this webinar about how to create a callback for an inbound campaign. The callback functionality is used for agents to set themselves a callback or to set a callback that will go back to a queue or a campaign. So let's take a look at this from the agent perspective. The agent's going to receive or take a call. They're going to enter some details for a callback, and then they are going to receive that callback. So let's take a look at how that looks. So I'm going to make an outbound call here from my agent toolbar. I'm going to select the inbound sales queue, so it's just a call that we're making here. It's now calling that number, so I'm just connecting that. So we're now connected, and as a result of speaking to the person, I've determined that they need a callback. So I add in the name of the person that I'm going to call back, and these scripts are all customizable to what you would like to see in here. I've just put in some pretty basic stuff. So these are the callback details, and I can put in the callback notes. So I want to buy insurance or whatever it may be. So this could be anything that you want, and then we wrap the call. So I'm going to go to here and wrap the call. So here we can put in the dates of when we want the callback. So I'm going to set it for today, and I'm going to set it in the past actually. So I'm going to set it for 3 o'clock. It's now 3:20. So this callback will drop the moment I hang up this call. I'm going to 0455833304. So that's the number that I want the callback to be to. And then when I go to close and ready, it's just warning me now that the callback is in the past. We now get presented with the call. So these scripts, as I say, are customizable. This is past the information that we took from the first script. So it's saying it's passing John Smith wants to buy some insurance. So we just copied that information across. So I can now, I've got this set up in preview mode, so it's ready to dial. It's put in the number, ready to dial, and having read the notes about the person, I can now make that call. It's now connecting, and then now I'm making that call. I'm speaking to John Smith, and we've decided that he wants to make a sale, and we wrap that call, and that is how we set up a callback, and then we made the callback. So now we're back ready to take more calls. So let's take a look at how to configure that in the workspace. The first thing we need is 2 campaigns. And I'm going to go to our campaign area and go to configuration. I've already created some. We've got a inbound campaign and a callback campaign, and that's an outbound campaign. I've already created these, and we've got other webinars about all of these individual steps, so you don't need to worry about it. I'm just going to assume that you know how to create an inbound and an outbound campaign. So we've got our inbound here, and this is where we'll take the call, and when we set up a callback using our wrap code, it's going to transfer that call into the callback campaign when it's due. So we've got those configured. If we go on to here, the next thing we need to configure are our data fields. So on my inbound script, we need 2 boxes that are going to capture the person's name that we're calling back and take some notes. You can have as many as you want, but I've just used 2. And on the inbound area, so you can see we've chosen our inbound our inbound data field, and we need to make sure that we go to the activities area here. So we need to click on that box. It's really important that you choose that one for the inbound sales. So for that, we can use the plus to add a new activity, and we can add as many as we want, but I've just used 2 using that box there. We can then go to our outbound campaign, and we want to create some fields that we're going to map those to. And it's important that these fields are created not in this area, not in the activity fields area, but in the contact fields area. And I've created them here and here. So we do that using the plus button again. And if you need more information, we have other webinars on how to create data fields. So that is what you need to do. So you create those data fields, and we're now going to add those data fields to a script. So if we go down to our scripts, go to campaigns and go to scripts, we can then go to our inbound campaign, and again there are other webinars on how to create scripts, but I'm going to assume you know how to create one. And we go to our introduction area and we can edit our script. And from here we can add a section called Callback Details or something of that nature. And we need to make sure that we're outputting those data fields. So what we're going to do, this is a space holder, so this will present to the agent and they can enter information into this box when they receive the call. We need to make sure that the data that they enter goes somewhere, and that's an output field. So here we've got the output field, and I need to select from my list, and I'm going to call this one as I'm going to put in the callback name details. So I select that one, and then I can move on to the next field, and I can put in callback notes. So these are the fields that we just created on the inbound campaign. So this is where we're collecting the data. I go to here, I save, page has been saved, back to Script Designer, I go to Production Publish, and that will then push that script with the changes I've made into the production environment. We then need to change our callback campaign script. So I go onto here, and I go down to here, and if you don't have anything in here, it's pretty much the same steps. You just go to edit and you just add the objects in using these. And again, as I say, there is another webinar that covers how to create scripts. So for this one, I've used an HTML object, and I've used a callback just to show you examples of how this works. So here, what we want to do is take that information that we had as an output script and insert it into the callback. So from here, in the HTML object, I've just handwritten this with the text, and then to input a text field, I just go to here, go to Fields, and Insert. So that actually just puts the information in for me. So just select the fields that you need, and here you can see I've put in the notes, and here I've just selected from the drop down there. It works slightly differently with these input boxes. So again, in the inbound script, we just had a blank box, but for the outbound, I want that box to be populated. So I want to take the information here and put in the callback person name. So I just want to put that in there, and I want to put that in the input field. Okay, and then I can go to save, and then we're done, and then production publish. So that's our script. So we now need to have a wrap code, a wrap code that will trigger the callback. So from there, we need to go on to wrap codes, and again, we've got webinars about how to create wrap codes. I'm just going to assume you know how to assign them and create them, but I just want to show you a couple of things. So once you've assigned your wrap codes using this, we've got one here called callback sales call, but you can call it whatever you want. There's a box here where you can make it a callback agent, or it can be a callback queue. So if you tick this box, the callback will go back to the agent that made the callback. If you leave it unticked, it will go to the queue. So it's important that we make a decision on that, and once we have, we go to update. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is link the two campaigns. So we need to map the inbound to the outbound campaign. So we're going to configuration, and this is regardless of whether you're making the callback to go back to the queue or to the agent. You need to go to the inbound campaign and let the system know which wrap code is going to trigger the callback. So we go to here, it's called callback sales, and then we choose the campaign that it's going to go to, and then we map the fields that are going to go across. So this is for the script information that we created. We've got a callback name details on the inbound activity fields, and that's mapped to the callback name person on the outbound contact field. So we've got the drop downs here, and we just choose where we want to map those fields to. So information collected in this field on the inbound call, it's going to be mapped across to this field in the outbound script. So if I go to save, that's done, and that's the first part of the workspace configuration completed. For our next step, we need to go into the agent toolbar and set up a test call. What this does is creates a callback list within the database where we can then later add our other callbacks. So it's a very important step. So I'm going to do that. I'm going in, I've put a number into the agent toolbar. I need to select our inbound campaign and dial. That's now just connecting, and I'm just going to put in some details of the callback. So I can go John Smith, and we can put in the notes, and then we just go into our wrap code and select our callback wrap code. I'm going to select that for today, and the time I'm just going to put it in the past again so that we can get it done. So I then go into here, 04, I'm going to put in a phone number, and then I'm going to go to close and pause. So that dialog is just warning us that the thing is in the past, and I'm just going to put myself on break so I don't get the callback straight away. Okay, that is our test call completed. The final step we need to do is in the workspace, and having made that test call, that created a list in the backend, in the database itself, and we need to associate that list with the outbound campaign. So all of our future callbacks will go onto this list and will automatically be dialed. So to do that, we need to go to our campaign configuration, so up to campaigns, and we go and find our outbound campaign, which is here, and then we edit that campaign. If I then scroll down to the bottom, we'll see the lists that this campaign is dialing. So at the moment we've got nothing selected here, so I just go to add new list, and from here I select the add queue to queue list. I then scroll down, I can update that, so first of all I need to add that, and then I can update. Once I've added that list to the outbound campaign, I can press start, and all future callbacks will now be added to that list. All of those that use that wrap code will be added to this list, and that's how you configure a callback campaign. Having set up your callback campaign, you can then manage it in the management area. So if we go to management and have a look at callbacks, we can see a list of our callbacks that we set up. Now, there are a few here, and you can see various different icons here. So we've got callback queue, and that's what this sort of three lines are. These red ones are in the past, so you can see that that's actually in the past, and that the callback is due and has passed. The green ones basically mean that it's okay, and it's the time for the callback hasn't passed. So these red ones will get called back when an agent becomes available to make those callbacks, and they'll just get presented with the call as we saw in the first part of here. If we go to here, we can manage this callback, and we can change the type of callback that it is. So it was originally a callback to a campaign. We can override these details and change it from a queue type of callback and make it to an agent. We can assign it to a particular agent, and we can change the times as well. So we can change that to tomorrow and update. And you'll see that that's now changed. It's changed to green as it's for tomorrow, so it's in the future. And you can see that the type of callback is now callback agent. So that's callbacks. It is quite a long process to set them up, but once they are set up, it's a very useful feature. I hope that webinar was useful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.